All right, so with all this extra time at home lately, I've been spending a lot of my time looking back at the past few years, but more specifically, looking back at all the changes that I've made in my life. Now, for me, the past few years have been mainly focused on trying to find new ways to improve myself and my performance, both physical and mental, and just improve my overall ability in life. Now, there's one thing that I've really been focusing on that has definitely had a major impact on all of these things. And even if I look back at some of the other people that I've worked with over the past few years that I personally admire, they all have this one thing in common as well. And it seems like this thing is a fundamental piece to accomplishing goals, overcoming obstacles, and actually turning crazy ideas into reality. Now, I know what you're probably wondering, what is this one crazy thing? That one thing is talking. And before I go any further, I know what you're probably thinking. How does talking have anything to do with any of that? But hear me out for a second, because this is actually backed up by science. And basically what I've noticed is that the phrase talkers don't do much and doers don't talk much actually has a huge amount of truth to it. And the way that it works is actually very simple. I think we can all relate to a time where we had some type of amazing idea. And it was such a good idea that we couldn't wait to go and tell everyone about it, all of our friends and all of our family, and pretty much shout it to the entire world at the top of our lungs. But for some reason, that idea has now pretty much dissolved into existence and no longer exists. And it's kind of like New Year's resolutions. Almost everyone in the world has New Year's resolutions, and when they do, they go around talking about their amazing new goals for the new year. But at this point, it's almost a joke because most of us know that very few people actually ever complete them. And the reason why everyone brags about their new ideas and resolutions is because it makes us feel good. Now, just the simple act of talking about our new goal or idea makes us feel good about ourselves. Now, I think we all already kind of know this, but what we might not realize is that that feeling of goodness is actually pretty dangerous to our odds of ever actually achieving this new goal that we set for ourselves. It's like when our parents told us as kids, if you finish your homework, you can go out and play with your friends. And I know that when my parents told me that, my head was down, I was focused, I was doing my homework, and I was doing it 10 times faster than I'd ever done it before because I knew what was waiting at the end of it. However, if any of you, like me, had gotten away with telling your parents that you would do your homework after you played, I think we both know that that homework never ended up happening. And the way that our brains work is actually just like this. When we have a goal in mind and we know that we won't get any satisfaction until it's actually complete, we actually will stick our heads down, focus, and stay focused until it's done because we haven't received that reward until it's completed. However, when we go around talking about our ideas, posting about them on Instagram, and telling all of our friends about it, every time we do one of those things, our brain releases little hits of dopamine that make us feel good. So what we're doing is we're pretty much giving ourselves a bunch of satisfaction without ever actually having to put in any hard work or actually putting in any effort at all for that matter. So we've practically made zero progress in reality, but in our minds, we've already gotten all of the reward. And that's part of the reason why, if I think of all the people I've met over the past few years that have accomplished amazing things, none of them really talked about what they were doing. And it's almost like it was their secret superpower. Like they knew that if they forced themselves to hold back on giving themselves that sense of reward, they would pretty much turn into complete machines that would stop at nothing until they got there. Now, in the studies done on this topic, they say that this is because we're resisting a premature sense of completion. And what they say is that our brains are pretty much goal-oriented machines. And the way that this works is our brains are optimized with goals in mind. And what our brain does is it doesn't stop until it has reached a specific goal. However, our brains are also wired for efficiency. So it's going to try and find the fastest and easiest way to get that set goal. So this is good, but it can also be bad because if we trick ourselves by giving our brains that premature sense of completion, once we do that, it pretty much signals our brain to move on, which then further inhibit other parts of our brain to work on necessary tasks that are required for us to reach the goal. So basically, the way that I look at it is like this. If we have the ability to resist talking about things, it's pretty much a brain hack that, if we can use it the right way, we can use this to actually turn ourselves into goal-oriented machines that don't stop until our goal is accomplished. And that's the good news out of all of this. We can actually use this information to give ourselves a competitive advantage when we set a goal. And instead of trying to constantly work against our brains, we can choose to work with our brains and the way that our brains are hardwired. If we can just stop ourselves from always talking about our new goals and our new ideas to people, we can actually give ourselves a much greater chance of accomplishing the goal. Now, personally, I've never been much of a talker to begin with, but just by being conscious of this for the past few years, I can honestly say that it has made a huge difference in my life. And I've noticed that not only does it become easier to resist talking about things, but after a while, you even begin to get pleasure from holding off because you know how much it will pay off in the long run. Now, I think we all know that accomplishment just feels so much better when we know how much work was put into it. Sometimes we have to put in months, even years of work every single day until we get any type of result. But when we do, the feeling of having real hard work pay off is 100 times better than any type of instant pleasure. So what this all comes down to is just practicing the age-old advice that we've all gotten of letting our actions speak for themselves, because actions do really speak louder than words. Now, what's important to remember here is that I'm obviously not perfect, and I don't think any of us will ever be perfect, but even making a small amount of progress here can have a huge impact on the amount of results that we get. So if there's anything you can get from this video, it's not that you have to go and be perfect or turn into a complete robot, because we are human after all. But what we should do is think twice before running off and running our mouths to all of our friends and family about all these new great ideas and goals that we have, because that ability to resist might just give us that necessary boost that we need in order to get things done. Anyways, that's all I got for now. I'm not going to tell you to click on any type of bell notification, because personally, I have all my notifications off on my phone, and I believe that it is a huge distraction from actually getting anything done in life. But if you do want more useful videos like this when you log onto YouTube, consider liking and subscribing for more videos like this. It really does help the channel and help me push out more content. Anyways, till next time, peace.
So, I'm out here in Colorado for a conference. And I go to the gym, and this trainer calls me over to talk to this group of people he's training. He says, "Hey man, what are you doing out here?" So I tell him. He says, "What kind of workouts are you doing?" I said, "Well, one workout I'm doing is I'm climbing up this mountain, 3,000 feet, 3 miles. Because I do that every day." So the next day I'm out looking for him. Didn't see him. A couple days later, looking for him. Didn't see him. So here I am on the mountain again, climbing it. And there's a gondola that takes you up, takes you down. I'm going up it. I see a gondola. I'm about 5 minutes from the top. I look up at the gondola. I see him, face pressed up against the window, looking at me. Our eyes meet. It's called the look. When you take a motherfucker's soul, don't talk about it. Be about it. Practice what you preach. Stay hard.